We should have known that the ASP wasn't trained there. If we were gonna bring it down, we need to disable his shield and find a block. Hendricks had a bad feeling about this. He wasn't the only one. I knew we shouldn't be there. Coalescence. Enhance yourself for a better tomorrow. They'd been the forefront of technology, always wanting to improve the individual, the future of you.
What happened? What went wrong?
The Coalescence disaster happened. Virus 6115 spread throughout Singapore and strains popped up all over the world. Governments built these quarantine zones to house the undead, a way for the populace to ignore what was happening. 10 years on, and it had worked. We put it out of mind. Ignorance was bliss.
What was so special about this operation?
It was supposed to be by the books. 5 years after our cybernetic augmentations, Hendricks and I were a well-oiled machine. Quarantine sweeps, recon, search and rescue. It's just what dead killers do. But we'd never been sent after one of our own before. John Taylor's systems had gone quiet. With our direct neural interface, we're hardwired into Winslow Accord servers. Observation knew if you were dead or alive. For Taylor to be neither, that was unusual. We located an EMF source and uploaded it to Central. It was a 54 immortal audio log, detailing unusual activity coming from the server room at the lowest level of the building. It couldn't have been more than a week old, probably why Taylor's team had been sent to investigate. Hendricks activated a recon drone to scan for life. We picked up a signal coming from far below. As we stood there in the atrium, I felt like Alice. And we were about to jump down the rabbit hole. Our drone picked up activity ahead. We should have known we weren't alone down here. When man fled the virus, they left behind thousands of active robots. Machinery abandoned with one directive: kill the dead. Years later, they're still killing. But with decrepit programming, somehow humans had been added to their kill list. Indistinguishable, from our brainless counterparts. The strange behavior was observed in multiple quarantine zones. Another nuisance for us to deal with while on recon. We moved on. We reached the silo's floor, but the signal came from lower still, below coalescence.
Did you have any inkling of what waited for you?
No. In hindsight, we should have put it together. But the fact of the matter, that day was supposed to be like any other.
What did you find below coalescence?
A CIA black project. Project Corvus. Unknown to the world, and unknown to most people in the know. As off the record as it got. A redacted footnote in Langley's history book. Part of me wishes we just turned back.
Why?
It would have been easier. For me. For Hendricks. For the world.
Is it such a bad thing You want to be blissfully ignorant in the face of daunting adversity.
We didn't have a choice.
Those who find fate thrust upon them rarely do. When you found the server room, did you have any idea what you would uncover?
We couldn't have known. What we found was... We found Sebastian Diaz. One of Taylor's. Another dead killer. Our friend. He'd linked himself to the CIA server, connected directly with the Winslow Accord systems. He was deactivating defenses for the undead quarantine zones all over the world. The massive walls containing the spread, keeping us from the undead. Deactivating the defenses would let the flesh-eating hordes loose upon the living. It would end humanity. We had to stop him. The only way to stop him now was by destroying the server.
Think back to 2065.
The raid. There was a Qatar. What are these drops I keep seeing? I saw them in Coalescence too.
It is your mind trying to help you through your memories. Weapons, abilities, powers. Use them or don't, but they may offer you a temporary advantage. Where did Diaz take you next?
We still have to get to the factory entrance. The entrance was locked. We had... The entrance was locked. We had to destroy a generator to get it open. That was around the corner, with more dead standing in our way. I had an arsenal in front of me, but Diaz made it clear. He told me to run point on the ground. He was curious to see me think on my feet.
In a way, he was acting as your training.
Diaz wanted me to earn the name Dead Killer. And there's really only one way you can do that. I had support that day, but when you're out there in the real world, you're on your own. No backup, no reinforcements. Just you and the undead. I'd show him I was worthy of the name. The Cotardis base of operations was just ahead. Once we were inside, we'd be able to figure out what they were planning. Salim, what's happening? I can't...
To my voice.
I can't. This guy didn't mess around. He had DNI just like us. He was hijacking any robotics he could, sending them after us.
What happened when you caught him?
Our mark. The tunnel. The Catardus group had planted a...
You didn't even need my push to...
Getting in was easy. I don't know how the undead got in. A forgotten open gate. A child's mistake. A poorly nailed board over a window. It didn't matter. It was spreading fast. We were already outnumbered 20 to 1. The remaining humans scrambling away. Their locker in their hands. We heard that familiar screech. Parasites, mutated creatures born out of 6115, were flying towards us. With the shipping yard cleared, Cloud Mountain was just ahead. The server room at the top. We had a long climb ahead of us.
What happened?
Gojulan encrypted her heart. Hendricks had pulled all the data he could. I hoped it was enough. Our pickup was in position. It's time to get the hell out of here. Between the flesh eaters and that wraith eyeing us, the super trees would be no walk in the park. We had to haul ass and stay out of sight. But they weren't our only concern. Winslow Accord picked up chatter ahead. Apparently, we weren't the only humans using the docks to escape. The super tree was collapsing. The only safe route to the docks was up. Chatter confirmed the 54 immortals were scrambling to get out of the biodomes through the swamps. From the sound of it, they wanted us dead as much as the flesh eaters did. Looked like we were jumping from one bad situation into another. Hendricks commandeered an airboat and set the autopilot. We had undead on our ass, and more 54I ahead. And that rogue wraith wasn't done with us yet. Exfil was just ahead. We were getting out of sync.
What about Taylor? What did Hendricks learn from the server?
Nothing. It had been wiped. Taylor was in the wind. And the virus, 6115, wouldn't stop this time. The Winslow Accord and CDP had been thrown into chaos. We'd lost Hong Kong, Berlin, and Cairo. And it was just getting started. What would come next? How the world would change? There was no way to be ready for that. Our target was a Catardus colony. They'd taken over a refinery. It was a well-armed facility protecting them and the dead they worshipped. Top priority was to cut off their comms and leave them in the dark. But first, we had to clear out their defenses. This was a routine sweep. Every time another sympathizer colony sprouted up, we'd squash it back down. As far as we were concerned, we were dealing with the fate. We moved on the array, but the undead sympathizers weren't going down without a fight. Our support detail needed a few moments to disable the array. Lucky for me, I had more hostiles to keep me occupied. Disabling the comms would take some time. Our support detail dealt with that. I dealt with reinforcements. The station disabled, we had to get back to our bird. The array was ahead. Bring it down, we'd be one step closer to eradicating this colony. With the comms disabled, we needed to get back in the air. With their comms jammed, the next step was to breach the control room to take back the facility. There was access ahead. I just needed to get through the flooded room in front of me. Our support detail insisted on coming with.
When you were swimming, something went wrong.
Our D&I... There was a malfunction.
What did you see?
I saw... I was drowning. I thought I heard...
This is not your time. Get back up. Do not trust him. Everything is not what it seems.
What did you hear?
Nothing. I couldn't make it out.
Get up.
Then I woke up. Someone pulled me out of the water. Someone saved me.
Saved you?
A guardian angel. Someone watching over me. My support detail. She got through somehow, and pulled me out. She brought me back from the brink. She said it wasn't my time. My work wasn't done. I had to stop Taylor. I don't know how she knew. We prepped to breach, but it turns out our enemies planned ahead. The explosion blocked our path. We had to double back. It caught us off guard. But the noise also caught the undead's attention. We regrouped with our allies. That's Egyptian Army Lieutenant Ziad Khalil, friend of ours. He was durable, seasoned. He defended his home through undead wars. He wouldn't go down without a fight.
What was the plan?
Khalil would move on control from the exterior. I'd sweep the dead from the air. Our guardian angel accompanied me. She told me the answer to finding Taylor was on this refinery. Why she thought that. How she knew that. It was surreal. When Khalil took the control room. Moretti was just below us. If we were gonna get him, we'd need to take a shortcut.
Shortcut?
A leap of faith.
Listen to her. Trust her. Find Taylor.
How was Hendrix? You cornered him. What did Moretti say?
He said that name. Same as Diaz. Deimos. He said if I wanted answers, I had to find Damien Bishop, a man we both knew from a past mission. Bishop could help stop Deimos. At first, I had to kill him. He kept saying, "This isn't me. This isn't me." He kept saying Deimos made him do it. So I granted his last request. I killed him as he asked. I did our job. With the dead crawling all over, we needed a distraction. Something to keep the flesh eaters occupied so we could grab Bishop. We weren't dead killers yet, so we had to be a little more creative. And lucky for us, there were plenty of NRC birds in the sky, and the NRC's dead system still worked. Laser cannons built to auto-target any hostile aircraft.
So you created the diversion.
And Taylor's team prepped extraction. Unfortunately, it seemed our cover wouldn't last as long as we hoped. The remaining NRC noticed the radio silence from air traffic control and had sent soldiers to investigate. Command set exfil for a satellite station off base. We reset the dead system to target one of the automated planes circling above. Turns out the undead have a thing for giant explosions, like moths drawn to a porch lamp. And all we had to do was turn on the lights. Unfortunately, We couldn't exactly control the landing. Hendricks alerted Taylor the bird was down and the diversion in play. We took out the NRC and moved. Bishop was being held underground in the security station across the tarmac. Hendricks ordered weapons down. The base was crawling with NRC soldiers and undead. No need to draw any more attention. We crossed the tarmac. The tunnel ahead led to the security station. Hendricks took out the guards. I hacked into the system to find Bishop.
Why were the NRC still at the base? It was being overrun.
They needed the cure. They kidnapped Bishop's whole team and would do whatever it took to get their hands on it. They'd torture these researchers till the dead broke down the door and ripped them all to shreds if it meant they could save their people. It wasn't personal. It was self-preservation. With the secret out about Bishop's discovery, he'd become the most wanted man in the world. The NRC were just the first to grab him. It was every country for itself. Why do you think we were there? The Winslow Accord wanted the same thing the NRC did.
You can't rationalize anything when you're put up against the wall.
Nothing about this was rational. It was instinctual, animalistic, survival. He had been escorted to an interrogation room. We had to hurry. Behind us was an undead army. Once one got a whiff, the others would come running. Hendricks told Bishop who we were and that we had to move. But Bishop refused to leave without the other researchers. His friends. Our instructions were specific. Bishop was our priority. We didn't like it, but Bishop refused to leave without them.
It sounds like you were taking an awful risk.
He said for the cure to work, he needed them. They weren't expendable. Technically, we were.
In a way, you and the NRC were not so different in what you wanted and how far you were willing to go.
Our method was different. Our reasoning was not. No one wants to sacrifice themselves to save the world. But you like to think if the moment came, you'd have it in you.
Who was inside the cell?
Lieutenant Ziyed Khalil, member of the Egyptian army. Back in '65, he was a guard assigned to Bishop's research station. This was how we met. Hendricks cut him down and notified Taylor we were freeing the other hostages. Taylor said we didn't have the time. The base was swarming with additional NRC forces. They weren't letting their prize go that easily. There was a tunnel full of hostile soldiers between us and our exit. A cargo elevator ahead was the only way to the surface. No telling how close the dead were behind us. The remaining NRC forces were waiting for us above. They weren't about to let their prize prisoner go. If it meant getting the cure and saving their families, they were willing to die for it. And they weren't the only ones. We'd never seen dead killers in action before. To us, it was a spectacle. To them, it was just another day in the life. Wait a minute.
Do not be deceived by his lies. Remember your past. Remember when you first met John Taylor. Remember the truth.
Wait, this is wrong. This can't be real. I told you I met Taylor in Zurich during the 2065 Qatarist uprising, after I became a dead killer. But here I am with Taylor, and my limbs haven't been replaced yet. I'm still human. Why did you tell me that the first time I met Taylor was Zurich?
Focus. You need to complete this memory. What was Taylor's plan?
We were still on for exfil, but first we had to blow the bridge. We followed Diaz. Both undead and NRC forces were converging on our position. Call grabbed us after the hangar. She was to take us to Moretti, so we could blow the bridge. After the bridge, we were forced inside a comm center. Moretti took the lead. The rendezvous with Taylor was an APC garage just ahead. We could hear the undead screaming towards us. But that wasn't all. A robot horde was moving in. And Taylor would need some time to get the door open.
You were forced into the garage. What happened there?
Hendricks wanted to go back and get the other hostages. Taylor said Bishop was priority. After all, he had the cure. The rest were just collateral.
What did Taylor do?
He volunteered to take his team to get the others. We were to take Khalil and Bishop to exfil. We got on the APC. Bishop was the most important man in the world right now. We had to get him to exfil if it killed us. The APC stalled on us. Hendricks needed a minute to get it going. The undead robots alive were crawling all over us. The APC spun out and crashed. Hendricks moved Bishop into position. The drone evac was inbound. Once secured in the drop pod, it would return to collect. We just needed to hold back the horde.
What happened?
These scavengers were well equipped. I suppose that's what you get when you prey on your fellow man. We made quick work of them. Hendricks took point down the alley. From the sounds of it, the dead knew we were coming. Clearly, Singapore was happy to have us back in town. Overwatch confirmed the vultures were converging on the safe house. Civilians spotted on site. We didn't know if we could get through without additional collateral damage. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens. But the gardens belonged to the dead. Before Hendrix could take him out, the scavenger alerted Gojulan. She knew we were here. Reinforcements were moving on a checkpoint nearby, along with more dead. Functioning ASP heard the commotion and joined the party. I needed to find a rocket launcher. The vultures beat us there, set fire to the facility. Gojulan announced herself over a PA. She was inside, and she had a special guest waiting for us. The vultures beat us there, set fire to the facility. Gojulan announced herself over a PA. She was inside, and she had a special guest waiting for us. We cleared the plaza.
Who was in the panic room?
Picking up. The superstorm could hit at any moment. Good thing we grabbed those spike anchors. We were gonna need them. The plan was to wait on a drone strike. Once it did its part, we'd move it. The missiles were ineffective. Wind too strong. And now that ocean liner looked like it was about to rip free. That thing would pulverize the dock, taking the data drive with it. Hendricks said, fuck it. We were built to kill the dead. No reason to switch it up now. We secured the first part of the drive, and uploaded the information to Kane. Hendricks moved to sweep the wheelhouse. The howling wind told us we had to hit it fast and quick. With the dead cleared out, we weren't With their comms scrambled, we had one less nuisance to deal with at the Black Station. Now to get the drive and get the hell out of this shithole.
You couldn't take being here, could you? You felt haunted coming back to this city.
The feeling had latched onto me at the safe house. Like I was being watched. Something had their eyes on me.
Something? Not someone?
And I just felt something pulling me, guiding me. I couldn't shake it. Our rendezvous with Kane was just ahead. By the time we rendezvoused with Kane, the dead were crawling all over the street.
What was Kane's plan?
Hit him in the gullet, then bag and tag. Gotta admit, the girl wasn't afraid of a fight. She seemed to welcome it, relish it.
Like yourself?
Like a berserker. Like a dead killer. The pieces were coming together. Virus 6115, Taylor's team, the undead. It all came back to Deimos. All we needed was you. Hendrix was unhinged. The idea his friends betrayed mankind to help a demigod. The concept alone was insane, let alone his friends' involvement. Kane was in it to the end. By now, she was as obsessed with stopping Deimos as we were. We weren't ready for Cairo, no matter what we thought. This place. If there was ever a place that was hell on Earth, this was it. It wasn't just the city. The entirety of northern Africa had fallen to the undead. The walls were covered with memories of the dead, those taken by 6115, lost to this wasteland, the desert for the undead. It was the last place on Earth you'd want to be. But you chose to hide there. Why?
For that very reason, I hoped no one would come for me.
Why? What were you running from?
From what you sought, Deimos.
Khalil was waiting. He was holding you in an interrogation room.
How was Khalil? Happy to see you.
It wasn't a warm welcome. As far as he was concerned, we owed him one for grabbing you. More than a few men gave their lives to bring you in. He hoped it was worth it.
He was angry?
He was tired. Tired of fighting a losing battle. Khalil was a realist. He'd fight to the death for country. But he knew what was coming.
And what was coming?
Extinction. The undead changed everything. The NRC were hit first and hardest. We saw that in Ethiopia. The damage done by the dead didn't even take into account what the water wars did. When the continent dried up and the Nile River Coalition took war to Egypt over the Nile, the last water supply. They were so busy fighting they didn't realize it too had dried up. But the rise of the undead? How do you fight an enemy that doesn't need water? Khalil's rage wasn't misplaced. It wasn't personal. He was just barely holding on.
What did you hope to learn from speaking to me?
How to stop Deimos. Everyone has a weakness. The whole base was on edge. You could feel it in the air. The dead were moving on Ramses. An assault was imminent. Khalil didn't know how much time we had with you. Hendricks demanded to know why we weren't informed.
How did Khalil respond to his anger?
WA command was down. How was he meant to get his message through? Besides, they still had their dead system. They used to knock enemy aircraft out of the sky, but now they were used to eviscerate the undead. If any came too close, the laser cannons would take them out. Khalil led us to interrogation. He warned us our time was limited. No telling when the dead might attack. But if we could get answers out of you, maybe we could find a way to fight back. You certainly weren't too happy to see. With no time, we needed you to be with. The assault on Ramses was beginning. The base was about to be overrun. We owed Khalil that favor. Time to take the fight to the dead. We weren't ready for the station assault. I don't know how the dead got in. Maybe an abandoned tunnel, an infected civilian, or maybe the vultures let them through. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Egyptian army came over comms. They'd never seen a horde this size move on the station. If we had any chance to stop them, we needed to reinforce the eastern checkpoint, a narrow passageway the dead would need to traverse to reach Ramses. Cairo. She was a city on fire, except for the Egyptian army and a smattering of civilians hidden away. She'd fallen to the dead. Khalil didn't say it, but I could hear it in his voice. He knew this was the last stand. If they lost this battle, they'd lose the city. It was a simple, straightforward plan. detonated the last support column. We had to get back behind the wall so we could blow the street. Our trigger man got hit. I had to get up there and detonate. I gave Hendricks a hand opening the V. We cleared the plaza, but something was wrong.
What did you hear?
Nothing. Deimos was... I'd interfaced before. I knew how it worked. It's a memory retrieval, an info dump, a lethal procedure. But this was different. She begged me to do it. Interfacing with someone is opening a portal to their mind, their darkest thoughts and desires. But this was her deep subconscious. This wasn't supposed to happen.
Because the deep subconscious is more than that. It is the gateway, the portal to Malum. The subconscious hides your fears, your doubts. It's the most primal version of you. It's what you run from. And by running, you persevere in life. But what if you embrace the subconscious? How do you think I opened the gateway?
But you said to open the gateway, I had to relive my memories.
No.
Hall told me that she had no idea what they were getting into, but they had to follow standard operating procedure, which meant locking down the site and interfacing with the location's primary systems in the server room below. heard his voice. Deimos.
Listen to the sound of my voice. I will have my army and my kingdom. All that remains is her sacrifice.
He was trying to consume her, and he wasn't about to let me stop him. Was fracturing, stretched between our dimension and his. She warned me to turn back, to let Deimos take her. I told her I'd stay with her. I'd see it to the end. I asked her what happened after coalescence.
You were deep within her subconscious, at the threshold of another dimension. You seemed to embrace the journey.
You think I wasn't scared? I was terrified. There was no way to make up for what I had done, but I had to try. From the moment we were in Foy, I didn't just see fear in Sarah's eyes anymore. I saw admiration. The longer I stayed, the stronger she became. The more she actually believed she had a chance. She told me to follow her. There was something she wanted me to see. Something she wanted to tell me. There was a chapel ahead of us. Paul told me to follow her there. But to get to Hall, we had to get through the Tiger tank first. I tried to approach her, but Deimos had other ideas. He was desperate to separate us and evict me from her mind. He wanted her, and I was getting in his way.
Sarah couldn't
The aquifers. There's something I don't get. You made this happen. You've pushed for the annihilation of Earth. But Deimos wasn't using you. You weren't his puppet. What's in this for you? Why are you doing this? Are you an undead sympathizer?
No, my child. Dr. Salim was not a sympathizer. He was so much less than that. He was so much more insignificant than that.
Was? Wait. What do you mean, was?
I must say, I'm impressed with how delusional you've become. You had completely forgotten this memory.
They found you. They tortured you for information, but this doesn't make any sense. You were an ally. You enabled him, freed him.
Dr. Salim was no ally. He was a tool. An instrument I enabled. He was a blind idealist believing he could make the world a better place. That I could save humanity, that he could save humanity. He thought I'd found him to thank him. Me. A god. Thank a mortal. I found him to seize power from him.
No.
Even now you still hide from the truth. Corvus had been destroyed in Singapore. I needed it to open the gateway. That was why I had kept Salim alive. He worked with a colleague, Kruger. And they built me a new Corvus at Coalescence headquarters in Zurich. One which I could use to open the gateway. So I had no further need.
The tree. I've seen it before. The entrance to Malum.
Tell me, what do you fear? You don't fear the undead. You've thrown yourself against insurmountable odds as if you had a death wish. As if you were trying to escape. Is it failure? Is it life? No. You fear your mistakes, your past. Your greatest fear is the memory that haunts you.
You awaited her sacrifice. She wanted me to stop you. She wanted me to end it. To deny you her offering. If she offered herself, she'd give you what you wanted. The only way to deny you was to
You
kill her.
denied me my prize. It was time to send you back to your world. You must know how this ends. This ends with your sacrifice. But now I hand you.
Lotus Tower was one of many megastructures in Cairo.
Do as he asks. Give Deimos what he wants.
We made
Trust-
quick. Once we took the security station and killed the dead system, Cairo air support could move in. Maybe we'd have a chance. Or at least give the people a chance.
And then we were coming for Taylor. We were coming for you.
The security station had gone under lockdown. We found a way through the air ducts ahead. Hendricks opened the path for us. The delay irritated him, but then he wasn't himself.
I wonder, how did you not know what happened to him? Did you just not get what so in my blissful ignorance?
Kane set the... Hendrix was stretched thin. You'd broken him.
I enlightened him, like I did you. Look at the false memories I created for you. I tried to remove your near-death experience in Ethiopia. I added myself to your memory of Ramses. I protected you from what haunted you. I wanted to make you understand my...
Right. This war... Right. This war with your sister, Dolos? What's it say about you that the only way you can defeat her is by enslaving backup?
Don't you dare mock.
John Taylor.
Let them come. Like puppets on strings. What choice do you have, Deimos? This is the world you made for yourself.
when you entered town. I must admit, with Hendrix as my vehicle.
City systems have gone haywire. Vehicles. connected to the grid was now a weapon at your disposal. Hendrix's DNI to plug into the system. We could see that from the carnage you unleashed, but we didn't know how bad it was yet. WA command, and you built yourself a wall of robotics blocking us from coalescence. By the time we made it inside, you'd extended beyond Switzerland's grid. You'd seized control of WA Command. All remaining robotics protecting the world from the undead were now only loyal to you. You've done it. It was the beginning of the end of mankind. All that stood between you and domination were the two men.
I soon let you be dealt with accordingly.
You trapped us in a decontamination room. You released this chemical.
6115. The virus that caused the outbreak in Singapore. And I had enough to wipe out all of Zurich.
You had triggered multiple breaches and containment failures. I interfaced with the system to see how bad the damage was. Wait. Who's there? Where am I?
This is your new home, my child. This is Malum.
I recognize your voice. You've spoken to me before.
I am the reason you're still alive. I've been with you from the start.
Deimos? Dolos? Taylor? Is anyone there? Dolos. I recognize these buildings. Why does this place look so strange, yet so familiar?
Malum is a realm beyond conceptual space and time. It manifests as a reflection of the individual. This is your Malum. Follow Taylor. He'll take you to the heart. This cold world is damned and consumed by death. It's outstayed its welcome in the known universe. Father won't be pleased. What better time than now, I suppose?
You think I will let you do that?
Of course! You were never particularly good at anything. You were built to kneel. I arrived on Earth with my brother.
Destroy you!
I lay hidden in shadow. Deimos never knew, but he's a simple creature. He's concerned with revenge, power, violence. He wanted an undead army just so he could kill me. How boring. And I was content to let him think he'd won. So I sat back while he consumed all of Earth.
Deimos, you were Cain? You were with me the whole time.
I am not my brother. I don't turn people into puppets. Not when they're so suggestible and malleable. Why control when they can formulate their own thoughts? Go. Taylor found us easy.
Break you,
All it
rip
took
you
was for the
from
doctor
their
to
grasp.
create the disturbance. Deimos thought he'd manipulated Salim. I had my fun watching my brother play with his toys, but I was bored. It was time to go home.
You let him destroy humanity.
Oh, relax. Humanity will be just fine. Without Deimos, Bishop's cure will work. Humanity will return to its boring, uninteresting self. Don't you worry your little head. You know, even if you kill Deimos, you can't go home. The gateway to Earth is sealed. You're trapped here. I hope it's not inconvenient.
If killing that fucker means damnation here, I'll take it.
Oh, I think you and I are going to get along just fine.
I wonder, sister, what's your plan? After you kill me, who's next? Our father? The king on his fiery throne? Cronus, Proteus, and Hybris, Chiron? The four brothers of the Great Sea, the mirrors of Perseus. Where does it end? Will you kill all of Malum over that thing? That human?
Oh my. Now that you mention it, I hadn't thought of that. I guess I'll just have to kill all of them. Deimos did exactly as I
Run while you
I
can,
knew given a
little
chance
brother.
to turn all of humanity into his army. Only then could I take him home. But to open the gateway, he needed a human sacrifice. Just as the test subjects were sacrificed to open the gateway in Coalescence. A blood offering. You. You know he's not wrong. You are strong. Stronger than any human I've seen. You force yourself to carry the weight of the world. You use it. It motivates you. You're driven by the need to do better. To improve on what you once were. What's more human than that? The drive to do better. To be better.
I won't let you do this. We're not finished.
She's burned your hearts. You're already weakening. Once she destroys your soul, it will be complete.
What choice do you have, Deimos? This is the world you made for yourself.
I cannot be defeated. I won't be undone. I cannot. Why won't you just die?
This is your chance! Let's see what a mortal can do! Do it! Kill him!
No. I am Deimos, demigod of dread and terror!
Oh yeah? How's this for fucking horrifying? Wait. This is Zurich. You said I couldn't come back to Earth.
Right now, we've got bigger problems.
Why? Because we killed your brother? heir to the throne of Malum.
We've thrown this universe into anarchy. Demigods, sirens, titans, deities alike will go to war.
Let them come.
I like the sound of that. So, what's the plan, partner?
We kill every last one of these motherfuckers.